Hey, this is Dr. Baker. We're going to go ahead and get cranking on this discussion regarding Will Smith's song "You Can Make It" that he performed at the BET Music Awards. Before we get started, let me ask you please like and subscribe. I'm just starting this channel. We are going to definitely delve into churches and pastors and preachers and evangelists and prophets and prophetesses, entertainers, you name it. We're going to look at anyone that you recommend. We're going to try to evaluate the beliefs, and so that we can tell you exactly what this person believes, this preacher believes, as well as what the church believes, and then we can determine whether or not they're sticking to these beliefs. And I have a whole system set up that will give them an orthodoxy rating as to whether or not they are orthodox, whether they are recommended, whether they are dangerous. So there's a whole scale. So please, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I post a new video of a new assessment on the orthodoxy of an individual or a church. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at Will Smith's song, "Can You Make It?" or "You Can Make It." And we're going to look at it from I'll say a fair perspective. John 7:24, Jesus says, "Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment." So if we're going to judge with right judgment, that simply means that we have to evaluate and make sure that we are being fair and just when we judge. The Bible commands us right here. John 7:24. Look it up for yourself. Different versions might say it differently, but we are to make judgment calls. We are to evaluate, assess, and make a determination as to whether or not these things are, where people are what they say they are, whether they are representing God, whether they are not walking in line with his word, whether churches are wayward, etc. So there's a lot of controversy regarding this song, this event, and whether or not Chandler Moore or Kirk Franklin should have been involved. So before we cast a judgment, we are going to actually look at it for ourselves. Okay. Of course, we can go by what a lot of people say on Facebook, Twitter, other social media sites, and of course YouTube. But I think it's better that you look at it for yourself and see whether or not you would hold to the harsh criticism that some are actually giving to these persons that are involved in this song. Okay, so what we're going to do first, we're going to look at it. Let's see what Will Smith has to say. And I know that BET has been yanking this video down when people are actually reproducing it. So what I'm going to do is just to show segments specifically for discussions to guide and to enrichen our discussions, give us some context as to what we're talking about. And so let's go ahead and get started with Will Smith. Okay, so that gives you a little context as to what he's talking about and why people are kind of in an uproar. You see the setting, the actual stage that is depicting what appears to be hell, right? So of course you understand why people would be, especially Christians, would have a concern that Chandler Moore, who is the voice of Maverick City and Maverick City worship music, for those of you who are not familiar with it, please look it up. They have some very, very good worship songs. And also Kirk Franklin, who is very controversial, and people are always ready to criticize Kirk. So this, of course, didn't help how things are set up. But let's just proceed. Okay. You forget how gifted he is. Of course, I'm not surprised that he is able to just sit down and crack out some chords based on his song. Okay, now that was Will Smith. Now, this is Chandler Moore, I really don't have, but this is Sunday Service, who is Kanye West's group. Those of you who are familiar with Kanye West's gospel group that he traveled around with, this is that group, and they are providing support to Will Smith in his song. Okay? I know you can make it. Oh! Will Smith, everybody! Good. All right, so let's do that again. Any of you who have sung in a church choir, then you understand. You understand the atmosphere when you're in rehearsal, especially when you are harmonizing, singing worship songs, and the spirit is there. You know, it's not just practice; it's actual worship while you are preparing for worship. So the persons who are filled with the Spirit, when you get in this atmosphere together, where two or three are gathered together, Jesus said that he would be in the midst of them. So they're there, and they're not there to actually blaspheme the Lord or to offend the gospel. They are singing an encouraging song. Their portion of it is the background. You can make it. And listen to how beautifully they harmonize, and you can actually feel that atmosphere there. And again, those of you who are familiar with being in a gospel choir, a church choir, then you know what I'm talking about, and you can just feel it. And I think somebody actually mentions the atmosphere in this clip. Let's listen.
Stack it. Very good.
Ready now. Beautiful. That was beautiful. And you could just feel it. You could feel it. These people are talented. They are extremely gifted at what they do, and that's why they are where they are. We know what a perfectionist Kanye West is. He gets the best to produce, and Will Smith is a perfectionist when it comes to his art. So, of course, he's going to get the best. So this is a quality performance. And I just wanted to show those clips so that you could understand some of what went into this song, so that we're not just looking at what people are saying and coming to the conclusion that these people are right simply because they're right about so much, and especially when they're talking about Kirk Franklin, and we know some of the things that he has done in the recent past. But let us not forget. Let us remember that Kirk Franklin has been in our lives a long time before he did some of the recent things that he has done. You know, so he is not someone who is foreign from being in good favor with the church and with Christians. He's been a friend of the church and a friend of Christianity and the Christian music industry for years, and he's done a whole lot more good than he has bad. But of course, it only takes one bad thing to make you forget about all the good things. We know that's just unfortunately, that's human nature, corrupt human nature, but human nature nonetheless. So looking at this song, we have to evaluate it on its own merits and not based on the perspectives of people that we trust. Hopefully and prayerfully we trust ourselves, and we trust the Word of God that tells us to judge rightly, to judge right judgment. So that was Chandler Moore's part there. And I mean, he has such an anointed voice. His voice is just tailored for praise, and God has blessed him with an anointing that you could feel when he opens his mouth and declares whatever it is he's singing. I believe it's unfair to him to make a conclusion on his walk, his Christianity, his commitment to Christ, his mission and ministry, simply based on his collaboration with Will Smith. So I think that we, once again, John 7:24, okay, when we judge, okay, that we need to make sure that we are not doing it by appearances, because it appears, I mean, by looking at this, it looks like Will Smith is in hell, right? I mean, look at it. It looks like he's in hell and they're looking down on him in hell, right? I mean, there's fire, red, black. We always associate those colors with darkness, and it's a dark scene. And rightly, Christians are criticizing this artistry. And I don't have any problem with that criticism, because I believe that it stayed dark too long, okay? And you'll know what I'm talking about in just a little bit. Actually, let's listen to it a little more, and you'll see that they're about to come down, okay? Because Will Smith is going to kind of switch up the direction of this song. See, he kind of changes directions as to where he's going with this song, and you see the fire is put out, the rain comes down. He's talking about the storms and all this kind of stuff, but he's talking about weathering it. Okay, so and you'll see that the Sunday service and Chandler Moore all coming down, and they're going to be on the same level with him in this video, and then Kirk Franklin comes in and does his part. Very inspirational song. And one of the problems that I have with harsh criticism for things that are not pure Bible or gospel that we are used to traditionally is that we send out all of these inspirational quotes of these ministers that are, many of them are heretics. And we're sending out these inspirational quotes that they are saying and sharing them with people, and they're inspirational. I mean, they are the 1 minute clips that you guys are sending out or that we send out. They're very inspirational, and our intent is to inspire someone, to motivate them, to help them through a hard time with just a quick message, to remind them that they matter, that they're important, etc. But a lot of these ministers that are putting these clips together, as a matter of fact, some of them we have stopped listening to completely because of some of the public revelations that have recently come out. T.D. Jakes has thousands of quotes out there, thousands of 1 minute clips, inspirational and motivational statements that go out that people are sending, but you won't even listen to his sermons, but you're sending out his messages. And so I'm just pulling that out because in all appearances, okay, if we're going to judge rightly and not by appearances, then we need to also, if we're going to judge Will Smith, Chandler Moore, Kirk Franklin, we need to do the same thing with these ministers who could be responsible for people going to hell by not rightly dividing the word of truth and sending out heretical, preaching heretical sermons. And in that hour sermon, they might have a minute clip that is really nice that people that goes viral on social media. But meanwhile, they have thousands of people who are probably going in the wrong direction spiritually because of the whole sermon that they're preaching. So I just wanted to put that in context with how we view this song, because we're judging Chandler and Kirk Franklin, and somebody's going to say, well, we're not judging them. No, you're judging them. Okay, you're judging them. Let's be for real, especially Kirk. Okay, so based on this song and based on the fact that he is collaborating with Will Smith, who has been having a lot of negative press in the past couple of years, and I mean ever since the slap, actually since before then, he had started getting some negative press. So let's proceed. I just wanted to interject that so that we could just kind of have some context, I guess you would say, as we proceed. let me say this, okay? Kirk is dressed for this occasion. I mean, we have rightly criticized Kirk because of some of the things that he's been wearing, and as a minister of music, as the voice or the face of gospel music for the longest. There's just some things you really don't need to be wearing, and we can, especially in front of millions of people. I mean, you gotta think about modesty and how you appear. Anyway, even guys, I mean, we talk about the ladies, but us men, we can do better too. But Kirk is dressed for this occasion. I like that suit. He's sharp.
Nobody gets it.
Okay, now Kirk was preaching. Okay, you could say what you will about this collaboration. You could talk what you want to about the song, but he's talking about repentance. He's talking about getting it right. I can't quote unquote him, but rewind it, listen to it again, and as a matter of fact, I think I will. I think I'll rewind this a little bit so we can hear a little more of what Kirk is saying, so that if we're going to criticize him for just being on this song, okay, let us also give him a little. Give him credit for what he's doing right in the song. Can we at least do that? Okay, now that was a word. That was a word. That was a word. Okay, so, and they're doing this in front of millions of people, and I say millions because of course there are thousands there, but this thing has been played even right here on this channel, on Will Smith's channel. This version has been played over 12,000 times when I pulled it up, but it's all over the place, and so it's been played on BET's network. It's been shown like what I'm doing, so millions of people have seen it. Okay, and the word that he's saying, because of who Kirk is and the energy that he brings, people are hearing what he's saying over the background. Another thing I like to point out is the attire that's being worn. Okay, the attire that the group is wearing is, it's modest, to say the least. Okay, it looks good. They're not showing anything. They're not showing their form. They're not showing their body parts. They're not showing anything. Okay, so when we are criticizing, I mean, let's do a better job. Okay, let's not go completely nuts on on Chandler Moore and Kirk because they are working with Will Smith on this song. Okay, is it a gospel song? I ask you. You put in the chat whether you think it's gospel or not, whether you think it's a Christian song or not, or whether you believe it's inspirational, motivational, or whether you think that it's a bad idea that Kirk and Chris, and why am I calling this boy Chris? Okay, that slap has been over for years now. Move on, Benny Wayne, move on, okay? Okay, so let us give Kirk and Chandler Moore a break, okay? I mean, I'm not an apologist for these guys, but the Bible tells us not to judge by appearances, but if we're going to judge rightly. Okay, let us do a fair assessment and come up with a just conclusion, and then make our determination based on the facts, based on an evaluation, not based on the history of what somebody did and what people are saying about that person based on their history. Everybody's got a history. I got history, you got history, all of us got history, and if we look back, all of us have regrets. And many of us have gotten past them. Some of us are still struggling with them, and it's my prayer that whatever you're struggling with will one day be in your past. But just be fair to yourself first. Don't beat yourself to death about what you're going through, okay? Like Kirk just said, just because somebody has gotten stuck in a bad chapter does not mean you throw away the whole book, okay? We all go through some bad, rough times in our lives. Some of us slip, fall. Some of us just jump off the truck, okay? The wagon, but God is merciful. God is loving. God is kind. God is forgiving. God is understanding. Don't be afraid to go to God and say, God, I messed up. Patch me up. And this song right here is saying you can make it. Let's go That's actually all of the song I'm going to listen to. I don't want BET to beat me up and try to take this video down, because I don't want YouTube to try to knock it down either. I would love for it to stay out there so that it can be, prayerfully, that you share it with someone, that you let somebody know that this is out here. Okay, like and subscribe to my channel. Like this video so that YouTube can spread it around, and so that the word can get out that we need to do a better job with our criticisms. So another thing I want to do right now is to look at the words of this song. And this is the last thing we're going to do in this video, to go ahead and round it up. But I want to look at the words of the song, since the song itself is what people are complaining about. They're complaining. And in fairness, I'll say this. I believe that people have not looked at the words of this song. I believe that their complaints are based on who Kirk Franklin is, what he's been doing, and he's brought a lot of stuff on himself. I believe they are basing it on the trend that seems to be there, where we have people of the gospel music industry actually bringing shame to the body of Christ. But I really don't think that's what's happening right here. Okay, let's look at the lyrics of this song. Okay, don't give up on me. I need you to hold on. Know you're deep in the storm, but I know you can face it. It can be dark on the road and you're feeling all alone. Don't lose sight of where you're going, because I know you can make it. Yeah, I know you can make it. I know you can make it. You are in the smoke and fire, which is what his art is typifying there. Tightrope on the wire. I see you're broken and tired, and all your hope is expired. You're just done with the change and the games and the shame, and the world is insane. All the pain from the flames, again, references video, that you walk through, but no one to talk to. The ghosts that'll haunt you and thoughts that'll taunt you, trying to heal, but the battle's uphill. And if God is for real, you just wonder if he'll listen. Okay. Now that part right there, I believe, is one of the things that, if anybody has listened to the lyrics and heard that line, that is a red flag, or shall I say something that jumps out to you. And one of the reasons is because when you say, if God is the beginning of a, shall I say, a challenge to God's deity, God's holiness, the reality of God, because that is one of the favorite lines of people who are skeptics, or people who are critics of the Bible and God's word, those who are non-believers, atheists, anti-theist, and antichrist, those who are against the Bible, those who are against God, those who are angry with God. Those are the first words you hear, if God is real. If God is real, then why did he send his son to die on the cross? If God is real, then why are there so many wars? If God is real, why was there a Holocaust? If God is real, then why was there slavery? If God is real, why are there abortions, etc., etc., etc.? So many people who are unbelievers use those words. So when he says that in this song, and if God is real, you just wonder if he'll listen. Now, we have to know who we're dealing with right now. Cliff. Y'all, it's a senior moment, okay? Give a brother a break, okay? My best friend's name is Cliff, okay? So maybe he's on the heart. Lord, I love you, brother. Okay, so maybe Will Smith is at a level in his life to where he's just not far from having asked those questions himself after what he's gone through. So this is his song, and this is based on what he went through. So we have to look at this holistically and see, okay, look at the whole song, all of the lyrics, and put them in context. I understand, okay, whether or not I believe that is something that a Christian should do. A Christian should never say, if God, okay, is real. because I don't know about you, but I know he's real. If you know he's real, put it in the chat. He's real. Put a cross in the chat. Okay, if God is real in your life, if he's done something to prove his realness to you, then, put JPK in there, John P. Key. Jesus is real. I know the Lord is real to me. I can feel him in my hands. I can feel him in my feet. I can feel him in my body, all over me. I know he's real. Nobody has to tell me he's real, because every time I was down, he picked me up. And you know what? If he didn't pick me up, he comforted me while I was down, and he stayed there with me until I got up. Okay, let me move on and look at the words of these songs before I get carried away here. All right, moving back. Okay, so right here, and if God is real, you just wonder if he'll listen. So many tests for the flesh, exhausted, gasping to catch your breath, walking through the valley of the shadow of death, and when you think you've got nothing left, keep going. Don't give up on me. I need you to hold on. Know you're deep up in the storm, but I know you can face it. It could get dark on the road and you're feeling all alone. Don't lose sight when you're going where you're going, etc., and going on. Let's look at this verse right here where the climax changed right here. The darker the hell, you got to endure. The brighter the heaven, you get to enjoy. The harder the fall, the higher you soar. God opens a window when the devil closes the door. Believe me, they tried to bleed Will Smith. And this just makes it personal. Let you know this is about him. This is his testimony about how he made it. And he's encouraging us, because he made it, that we can make it. Said, believe me, they tried to bleed Will Smith. In the rear view, I see adversity was the gift, and he's saying he came through it. So he's looking in the rear view. To lift me higher, gifts require faith. Okay, that's just a word right there that is common in Christianity. Okay, so dry your eyes, and then you'll find the way out of the madness, out of the maze, out of the sadness, into the rays. And just using the word rays is a spiritual word, so that could be talking about any light, not necessarily the light of God. So we shouldn't just say, oh, well, Will Smith is a Christian. He said faith, and he's talking about going to the light. Well, no, not necessarily. Okay, so as I stated, I'm going to release something later this week on Will Smith, his beliefs, whether his beliefs are orthodox Christian beliefs or not. So stay tuned. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe and hit the bell so that you can receive notification when that comes out. So going on, he says, so dry your eyes and you'll find the way out of the madness, out of the maze, out of the sadness, into the rays. The darkest of nights will turn to day, and the storms run out of rain. The storm runs out of rain. Okay, hold on. Okay, I like how he said that. Okay, don't give up on me. So he goes on and repeats that, and he ends out, when nobody gets an easy ride. Well, we all have a cross to bear, more Christianese there. Okay, but there's wisdom in the fire, and every moment is an opportunity to embrace the journey. Okay, so as you see, this song is a positive song. It's an inspiring song. It's part of his testimony, and it's declaring that he came through a storm. And I believe that Chandler Moore and Kirk Franklin knew the lyrics to this song before they said yes. I don't believe that they just said, oh, Will Smith asked me to appear to help him with this song. Yes, of course. And I think the same thing about Sunday service. I believe that before they agreed, that they reviewed the words and they looked at them and said, okay, this is something that we can support. So I give them, I don't know where they are in their walk. I don't know where they are in their biblical understanding, but I do know where I am in mine. Okay, and simply based on where I am, and I know y'all might be saying, well, you need to study more. Yes, I do, and so do you. We should all study to show ourselves approved workmen who need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But I do believe that after reviewing the words of this song, that they didn't have a problem with the message that was being put out there. And I also believe that they came alongside Will Smith in his recovery. I think that they are seeing that they're holding up his arms now, that Will Smith is coming, and Will Smith is saying, I've been through a lot, and this is my declaration that I am through it and I'm going to move forward, and you can expect something different from me going forward. And trust me, Will Smith, after this, we're expecting something different from you, brother. Okay. Anyway, so that's my take on this, and I would like to ask you once again, guys, that just think of it. Think about the entire song, not just the performance, not just part of the performance. Look at the end of the performance also. If you want to, you can go back and look at the whole song. I couldn't play the whole song for copyright purposes, but I could play clips to support our discussion, which is trying to determine whether or not this is a Christian song, whether or not Chandler Moore and Kirk Franklin should have been there, whether Sunday service should have been a part of it. But I enjoyed the performance. I thought that the performance was entertaining. I think that it was inspiring. It had a feel-good, what is the word I'm looking for, y'all? I'm having a senior moment. It definitely has a feel-good mood to it. It just feels good. And it's not a song that I would tell my children not to listen to. As a matter of fact, just thinking about Will Smith's entire portfolio of music, most of his songs are songs that our children could listen to. We listen to them. So just arbitrarily throwing Kirk Franklin and Chandler Moore under the bus because they were a part of this song with Will Smith, I think is unfair. And I think that we need to think more about what message that sends to the world than what the message that Kirk Franklin and Chandler Moore are sending to the world by coming alongside Will Smith when he's coming out of one of the darkest period of his lives. And as Christians, they're not only singing the words that he wants them to sing to the world, you can make it, but I believe they're right there next to Will Smith singing that song so that he can know that they believe that he can make it. Isn't that something that Christians should do? We definitely shouldn't be corroborating with some of these artists that are trying to just get a gospel feel to a worldly song that is promoting sensuality and debauchery and hedonism and all that stuff. But this did none of that. This is one of those songs that was 3+ minutes of those messages that y'all are sending out from some of these heretical preachers. Okay? Will Smith is not a preacher, theologian, and neither is Chandler Moore. They are ministers based on what they do specifically, but they're definitely not scholars or theologians that you go to for biblical understanding. So we need to cut them a break. And if we're going to judge by appearances, okay, it needs to be right judgment, although we're told not to judge by appearances. Don't worry about what it looks like. Look at the whole thing, okay, and then let's judge by that. Okay, once again, thank y'all so much for giving me your time. Y'all have been so patient and so kind to join me on this journey. Again, this is Dr. Benny Baker from Athens, Texas, the Black Eyed Pea capital of the world, coming from you right here in Arlington, Texas. Hopefully this gets all the way around the world and y'all see this thing. Spread it around, like and subscribe and share so that the message can get out to YouTube and they can train your algorithm.